Hello everybody, and welcome to this first ever edition of Big Predictions Top 10s. In today's Top 10 video, we're going to be going over the top 10 Super Bowls of all time. Of course, it is Super Bowl week. I hope you all are looking forward to the Super Bowl as much as I am. So let's get right into it. Coming in number 10 is Super Bowl 5, the Baltimore Colts versus the Dallas Cowboys. Now this game was also known as probably, as far as the quality of play goes, probably could be one of the worst of all time, as both teams on each side had penalties, turnovers, missed PATs, and the two teams together combined for 11 turnovers in the game, and the Colts' 7 turnovers are currently the most ever committed by a winning team in the Super Bowl. Dallas Cowboys also set a record in the Super Bowl with 10 penalties, costing him 133 yards. It was fine. The reason why it comes down to the final, the reason why it comes into this top 10 list is because of how close it did come down to. It came down to a late game-winning field goal for the Baltimore Colts to win 16-13. Coming in at number 9, Super Bowl 10. The Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Dallas Cowboys. Now, this was a historic Super Bowl since the Super Bowl era started. This game was historical for two reasons. One, it was one of the first national events of the United States bicentennial, which was in 1976. It was also the first time that the teams that won the last two Super Bowls had met in the Super Bowl, since the Dallas Cowboys had won 2 years prior and the Pittsburgh Steelers had won the year prior. It all came down to the final quarter when the Steelers trailed 3, but they rallied to score 14 unanswered points, including a touchdown by Pittsburgh wide receiver Lynn Swann. The Cowboys did come back, though, after they retake the lead 21-17 after a 34-yard touchdown reception from wide receiver Percy Howard. But Pittsburgh safety Glenn Howard halted Dallas' rally with an end zone interception as time expired, and the Pittsburgh Steelers went on to win their third Super Bowl in the Super Bowl era. Number 8, Super Bowl 13, the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Dallas Cowboys. This was another historic Super Bowl, as it was the first Super Bowl ever to have a rematch of the previous one, which was Super Bowl 10, when the Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the Cowboys 21-17. This one ended up being another victory for the Pittsburgh Steelers, defeating the Cowboys 35-31. Terry Bradshaw was named Super Bowl MVP that year and was also the third Super Bowl for the Pittsburgh Steelers. This was one that was definitely historic for both teams. Number 7, the St. Louis Rams versus the Tennessee Titans. Now this one was a big game that was played in the Georgia Dome. It was largely a defensive battle. The St. Louis Rams, this was the second Super Bowl ever for St. Louis, who came in with an NFC best 13-3 regular season record that year. It was also the first playoff appearance for them since 1989. That was back when they were still in Los Angeles the first time. And the Titans, making their first ever playoff appearance since being the Houston Oilers, finished their regular season with a 13-3 record. They win it as a wild card team. Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner, St. Louis Rams, did 23 points in this game, but in the end, it all came down to defense, as Kevin Dyson, tight end wide receiver for the Tennessee Titans, was tackled by Mike Jones at the 1-yard line as time expired. This became known as 1 yard short, and is also known as the longest yard in NFL's greatest games. Number 6, Super Bowl 38, the Carolina Panthers versus the New England Patriots. Now this one was a pretty big game for both franchises. The Panthers making their first ever Super Bowl appearance in their second straight from the NFC South, and the Patriots were looking for their second Super Bowl in 3 years after posting a 14-2 record this year. This one came down right to the final seconds, as a great Super Bowl really should. But in the end, it ended up coming down to Adam Vinatieri being called on again to get the game-winning field goal. That was a 41-yarder, and the Patriots went on to win 32-29. Number 5, Super Bowl 43, the Arizona Cardinals versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. This one came an instant classic, coming down all the way down to the final play. The Steelers were looking for their franchise and league record 6th championship, and Arizona was trying to win their first NFL title since the 40s. Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner came to the Cardinals after winning Super Bowl 34 for the St. Louis Rams. Pittsburgh quickly jumped out to a 17-7 halftime lead after a 100-yard interception by James Harrison. Trailing 20-7 at the fourth quarter, Arizona scored 16 consecutive points, including a 64-yard touchdown from wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald. With 2:37 remaining in the game, that gave him the lead. But Ben Roethlisberger, who already won a Super Bowl title a couple years prior, marched their team down the field, and with 35 seconds left, connected with Santonio Holmes for the 6-yard game-winning touchdown. Holmes caught 9 passes for 131 yards that game, including 4 receptions for 73 yards on the final drive. Santonio Holmes was also named Super Bowl MVP this year and became the 6th wide receiver to win the award. The Pittsburgh Steelers would end up winning 27-23 in the end, and Arizona still has the largest championship drought out of any sport in the country. Number 4, Super Bowl 36, the New England Patriots versus the St. Louis Rams. Now, this was a Super Bowl significant for everybody, as it was the first ever Super Bowl. It was the largest sporting event since the 9/11 terrorist attack. Between the Patriots, who were making their 3rd Super Bowl appearance, they lost the previous 2, and the St. Louis making their 2nd Super Bowl appearance in 3 years. Of course, coming in at the start of the season, the Patriots were the odds to win the Super Bowl, and the Rams were favored by 14 coming into the game. But a Patriots defense that was ranked 6th in scoring at the end of the regular season came to play, as they held, after forcing 3 turnovers in the 3rd quarter, had a 17-3 lead heading into the 4th. The Rams ended up coming back, though, tying the game with a minute 30 left, 17-17. Second-year quarterback Tom Brady charged their team down the field, setting up Adam Vinatieri's 48-yard game-winning field goal as time expired. This would go on to start a dynasty for the Patriots, winning their first ever franchise championship of any kind. Of course, they would end up winning 3 more within the next 12 years. Number 3, Super Bowl 49, New England Patriots versus the Seattle Seahawks. This game ended up being a game between most 2 hated franchises. The Seattle making their 2nd straight Super Bowl appearance after beating Denver the year prior, and the Patriots making their first one since losing to the Giants in 2011. Of course, the Patriots coming in here hadn't won a title in 10 years since their win over the Eagles in Super Bowl 39. Seattle, of course, going for their 2nd straight Super Bowl. It was a close game the entire time, as they were tied 14-14 at half. The Seahawks built a 10-point lead to end the 3rd quarter, but the Patriots rallied to take a 28-24 lead with about 2 minutes left in the game. The thing remembered about this game, however, is the very final drive. Russell Wilson connected with Jermaine Kearse to take him all the way down to the New England 1-yard line with about 20 seconds left. And we all know what happened after that. Having the best running back in the league, they decided not to run it and pass it. And that pass was intercepted by undrafted rookie Malcolm Butler to make the game-winning interception for the Patriots. This would be the 4th Super Bowl for the Patriots, and the Seattle Seahawks have not been back since. Number 2, Super Bowl 25, New York Giants versus the Buffalo Bills. Now this game was between a Buffalo Bills offense that was the number 1 in the league, and a New York Giants defense that held teams to about just a little over 100 points the entire season. The Giants, of course, trailed 12-3 at halftime, but coming out of the second half set a record for possession of the ball the entire game. They had a 75-yard touchdown drive that consumed 9 minutes and 29 seconds off the clock. In the end, though, it all came down to Buffalo Bills kicker Scott Norwood, as his field goal attempt would go down in history as the one that went wide right. And the Giants would end up winning 20-19. This would start a 4-game losing streak in the Super Bowl. And the number 1 Super Bowl of all time is Super Bowl 42, New York Giants versus the New England Patriots. Now this was a classic David and Goliath Super Bowl, as the Patriots were the first ever team since the NFL expanded to a 16-game regular season schedule to go 16-0 in the regular season. And they were looking to become the first ever undefeated team since the 1972 Miami Dolphins. But the Giants had other plans. The Giants just managed to sneak their way into the playoffs with a 10-6 record, and the Patriots just completely plowed their way through the playoffs. Coming into the game, the Patriots were favored by 12 points, but the Giants had other plans. It was a back-and-forth game. It was a low-scoring affair that ended up being tied. The Patriots ended up being down 14-10 with about 2 minutes left, giving the ball to the Giants. Starting at their own 17-yard line, they would march 83 yards down the field. But in that game's most memorable play on that final drive, and possibly the one that set up the game-winning touchdown, this is the play that still haunts New England fans and will always forever. David Tyree's one-handed helmet catch would set up Plexico Burress for the game-winning touchdown with only 35 seconds left. The Giants will pull off the biggest upset in Super Bowl history and maybe even the history of sports, as the Patriots would finish 18-1. These two teams would meet a few years later in Super Bowl 46 with the same outcome. Thank you all for joining me here today in today's first ever Top 10 video of Top 10 Super Bowls of all time. Join me for later this week and watch out for more Top 10 videos as we get ready for Super Bowl 51. Thank you so much, guys. And until next time, I'm Big E saying so long, everybody.